I'm at the point where all you can do is really just laugh about it. Like, what an absolute joke. The Toronto Blue Jays set a franchise record for getting 9 hits in 3 games. That's the lowest they've ever done in franchise history. What a joke.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. As always, I'm Braden Iwasco. He's Carter First. You can find us on Twitter, Braden5Iwasco. Carter First, too, as well. And our main one, at Locked On Jays. Make sure you guys go follow us on there as well on Instagram and TikTok, at Locked On Blue Jays. If you're new here to YouTube or you're listening anywhere else, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hopefully this team isn't this bad all year, and we actually have some good content for you guys coming out. So make sure you guys do follow us on the YouTube channel. It does help us out, keeps us top of your page, and it's free. You might as well do it. Yeah, I guess we just got to hop into it. I'm not going to lie. We usually have some stuff to talk about, and there is stuff to talk about. There's a lot to talk about, but it all sucks. And that's the problem. And after yesterday's episode, I was feeling like, okay, is this a must-win game? Carter asked me on last episode, is this a must-win game? I said, I don't think so. I think it's an important one. I don't think it's a must-win with an off day. Now that the game is done, it feels horrendous, man. Like, I'm just like, sort of like, I don't know. After 3 games of this, I'm just like burnt out of watching this horrendous offense play.
In the last 5 games of Toronto Blue Jays baseball, like you have that Logan Gilbert day. Like I'm wishing the Toronto Blue Jays had a game like that Logan Gilbert day. At least they're going to get base runners. At least like you think they have a chance of scoring some runs. It just progressively got worse and worse and worse and worse. And now it feels like we're back in the middle of 2024 all over again. And maybe we are overreacting a little bit. How can you not react like this after watching these last 5 games, especially these last 3 games of baseball? As you kind of led off with the podcast introduction, 9 hits in 3 games. That is tied for the franchise record for the lowest amount of hits in a 3-game series, and that's in the entirety of the Toronto Blue Jays' existence. So if you're asking, hey, can it get any worse? Have the Blue Jays been worse? No, this is actually rock bottom. This is one of the worst the Toronto Blue Jays offenses has ever looked. And we've been through 2023 when this team did not have a good offense. We've been through 2024 where this team had an even worse offense. And now we're in 2025 where, again, it's April. You could say it's early, but there is a major problem. And the offense feels a lot, especially in this last 5 games, maybe not in the entirety of the season, but these last 5 games, this offense has felt a lot similar, if not worse, than it has been in 2024. So I don't know if you got any spin zones for this one. Is there anything that you can like, hey, at least we got this, at least we got that? Like, give us at least something positive after just a very negative 3 days.
Yeah, people are going to be upset about the pitching performances, but I mean, at the end of the day, like if your offense doesn't show up, it takes you out of this game, especially for 3 or 5 games in a row. As the pitchers for this team, you go on the mound and you know you're not going to get any help. I can't blame them. The bullpen, I can't blame. Like me and you were talking before this podcast. They had to throw Yimi, Garcia, and Jeff Hoffman in this game because otherwise they would be sitting around for 5 days because this team isn't in a competitive baseball game. And I think this game, again, was gettable. And nothing. So, yeah, there is positives. The pitching's still pretty good. I don't want to harp on that at all because why can you or why should you? But the offense is so bad that it drains it from you. Like, we just paid a guy $500 million. And nothing. He has 1 home run this year so far in, 25 games? Like, I don't know. And I'm on the bandwagon of pay Bichette. And I think he's been the best of the bunch, sadly. Santander has been a bum. The young guys, I mean, sure, George Springer's probably has the best at bats. Alan Roden can't hit a fastball. It's the Davis Schneider effect for that guy. There's a lot of places we could go. I mean, who do you want to talk about first? That's sort of where we're at. Who do we want to critique first? Because there's a lot to go around here.
Yeah, you could quite literally go down the entire batting order, other than I think Tyler Heineman. If we're looking for a positive,
Yeah.
Tyler Heineman didn't play this game. When Tyler Heineman's been in the box, he's been hitting very well. I think he's hitting over 500 right now. But even Tyler Heineman can't even save this team. I don't even think Bradley Zimmer could save this team right now where the Toronto Blue Jays are at. Bradley Zimmer went on this team. If he was in this lineup, I think the offense would get better. That's kind of where we're at with this Toronto Blue Jays offense right now. I mean, 2 runs in 3 games. We already went over the hits. Like this is another one I talked to you about off camera. Zach DeZenzo, again, not a very known MLB player whatsoever. He had 5 hits in 2 games in this series. If he would have played another game, maybe he gets another 3. Maybe somehow he hits 4 hits. And then Zach DeZenzo would have had the same amount of hits as the Toronto Blue Jays in a 3-game series. And I know I brought up this point, and this does have a little bit of value. They've pitched some tough pitching. Gusto, again, more of an inexperienced guy, but he has been good this season. You've had Hunter Brown. You've had Ronald Blanco. You've had Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo. But again, we talked a little bit more off camera than we more typically do because we were trying to get hey, is there any way we can get at least a little bit positive here? At the end of the day, at sometimes you do have to tip your cap. There's going to be pitchers that have very good performances, and at sometimes you're going to see the stuff is ridiculous. You're like, okay, I'll give them that one. Tip your cap. We've tipped our cap 5 games in a row now. It feels like we've been tipping our cap for the last 15 days. So at what point, again, can you stop tipping your cap and say, hey, clearly the offense is the problem? This isn't even a home run debate anymore. I mean, I think the hitting will get better. Like they're not going to hit 9. They'll only have 9 hits in every 3-game series. I think they will get more hits. They will get more base runners. But again, even if you do get those base runners, who's to say that they're even going to be able to cash in these runs? Who's to say they're going to be able to hit these home runs? This is the lowest I felt easily in 2025. But again, this is taking me dangerously close to those 2024 vibes. I think it's just because it's been that bad of a 5-game stretch. At the end of the day, I guess the Jays are still 12-13. Like there is, again, some positive spins that you can get from this. But over these last 5 games, I'd rather watch paint dry than the Toronto Blue Jays play baseball.
Yeah, I you know what? It's getting to the point for me, and again, it's tough because you wait all off season for opening day and for baseball to be back, and then I come home and I get off work. I plan my evening to go and watch Blue Jays baseball, and obviously come on the podcast. And our day-to-day lives sort of revolve around this team, and I'm sure as fans of this team, it does for you guys too. But it's getting to a point again where, I went on a radio station in Edmonton before, just as the season was getting underway. I think it was after the 2nd or 3rd game. And I said, you know what? As much as I look at this team, I can still see the same problems from 2023 and 2024. There are still the underlying things that are wrong with this ball club. And yeah, as much as I want to spin it in a way that makes me feel better about this team, it seems like we're going down the same path. And that sucks. Because I don't know, watching a whole nother season of this team try to, spin zone it where, we're going to go out and we're going to make a difference in the offseason again. And we're going to play 49 games of useless baseball to end the year. And it's all fine because Vlad's going to have a hot year and Bo's going to have a hot year. And you know what? I saw a comment, I think it was in our Discord. If you guys want to go join Discord, the link's in the description as well. And somebody said, what are we going to wait? No, actually it was on the YouTube page. And somebody said, what are we going to wait till the Blue Jays are out of playoff contention? Then Vlad's going to hit 30 home runs in 30 games and his stats are going to look fine. But at the end of the day, it's going to mean nothing. I'm getting there. I'm getting to that point of being like, these are the games that matter. They don't matter in August and September if you're already out of the playoffs. I'm frustrated, and I bet all of you are too. And maybe you guys don't want to come on here and hear us complain about this team, but I mean, what else do you do after watching 5 games like that? And again, let us know how you guys feel. I'd like to know. Do you guys still have a ton of hope, or are you sort of beat to the ground a little bit after these 5 games? Me and you are pretty emotionally invested in this team. Podcast, being fans. These are the conversations me and you have on a day-to-day basis. We were at the whiteout party. We talked about this yesterday. And we talked with a lot of Blue Jays fans out there. And people were still sounding somewhat hopeful. I'd love to go and talk to them now after these 5 games, Carter. Because, man, I'm beat. So I bet other people are feeling the same way.
In the grand scheme of things, it is what you said. It only has been 5 games. The issue here is that it's been 5 games out of the 25 games the Toronto Blue Jays have played. It's 20% of the games that the Toronto Blue Jays have played. So who's going to say that, as it gets down the road, what's going to be more commonplace? The games that we've kind of seen already or the games that we've seen right now? Again, the offense, it has to get better, right? Like, I can't be crazy to just think it has to get better. There's no way that this offense, as bad as they might look on paper, as bad as the bats might look right now, it has to get better than these, 3 hits average per game, because the pitching matchups will get better. Like, things, again, when you look at the schedule, you can look at these pitching matchups. You have different things that can make things better right now. And in the grand scheme of things, you got to say 5 games out of 162. Say they go on a 5-game win streak all of a sudden, things could be looking a whole lot better. But like you said, the Blue Jays are 3rd in the AL East. Who are they playing the next 2 series? They play the number 1 team in the AL East. That's New York Yankees. And right after that, they play the Boston Red Sox, who are the number 2 team in the AL East. And again, it's very early to look at standings. But again, just how it's consistently gone downhill and downhill, especially from the offensive side. At some point, something needs to change and something needs to be fixed with this Toronto Blue Jays offense. But what's the key? What needs to be fixed? How are they going to fix this? There's clearly a power problem. There's clearly an approach problem at the plate. It's clearly an entire problem with the offense when you only get 2 runs in a 3-game series. I don't care if Nolan Ryan, Roy Halladay, and then it doesn't matter who's pitching. And then Braden goes on the mound for the 3rd game and absolutely dials on the Toronto Blue Jays. He probably would, the way they're hitting right now. But there's got to be a fix on this team. There has to be a way to make things better. So I think we're going to have to at least shed some light on how things could get better coming up. Maybe it's a guy that ignites this lineup. Maybe it's just having a better approach at the plate. Something is going to need to change, and we're going to talk that out. Hopefully find a solution to this problem that the Toronto Blue Jays have. Bunch more that we want to get into. That we'll get into all that, resolutions, all the things that could go better for the Toronto Blue Jays coming up.
Today's episode brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? I didn't know this. Crazy. Honestly, crazy. Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No consoles required. Just grab a paired controller, subscribe, or sign into Xbox Game Pass Unlimited with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports, College Football 25, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and Avowed. As easy as you stream your favorite shows, it's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Not going to lie, I just got a Fire TV stick, and it's crazy. I mean, I'm a PlayStation guy, but when it's that easy to do, and I don't have to go buy a console, makes it super, super easy. So think about it. That's all I'm saying. With Wi-Fi 6/6E and auto low latency mode, advanced technology, Fire TV Stick 4K delivers smoother, more responsive gameplay with lightning fast speeds you need to stay competitive. They have endless streaming with 4K streaming, watching more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV locked on to get started. Xbox Game Pass Limited subscriptions are compatible, controller required, available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. That's Amazon Fire TV. Okay, so I got some more stuff to say. I know we want to talk Daulton Varsho because he could be a component here that is very important to this team moving forward. They need to get another bat into this lineup. Is he the key? I don't know. We're going to talk about it right away. But Carter, just going sort of back to what you said on the Yankees and the Red Sox coming up, right? These games are massive, right? If you can win a few of these games, that's huge. If you can somehow take 2 of 3 and 2 of 3, or 2 and 3 and 1 of 3, that's going to help you out in the standings because you're going to take wins away from another AL East team. And that's something we talked about before the season started, was that this team needs to do better against the AL East. You have to win these games. The problem is, Carter, right now, do you have faith in this Toronto Blue Jays offense going up against the Yankees or the Red Sox? I feel better about the Red Sox. I don't feel good about going up against the Yankees, if I'm being honest with you. I'm a little terrified.
See, what scares me about the Yankees isn't their pitching. It's their offense. It's Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge scares the living hell out of me. I mean, he's one of the best hitters that we've seen in a very long time. Some people can make the argument he's the best hitter, one of the best hitters in the game of baseball. That's a completely different story for another day. But Aaron Judge, very good baseball player. But when you look at this Yankees starting rotation, like Max Fried, they are going to have to play Max Fried in that game. I don't know how they're going to manage to muster any hits against that guy. But they have Carlos Carrasco the first game. I know we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here. We do have an off day. But Carlos Carrasco has not been good this year whatsoever. The Yankees starting rotation has not really been that good this year. It's really been Max Fried. Carlos Rodon has been good, or decent at least. But now they have Clark Schmidt back. They'll see Clark Schmidt. But again, he hasn't pitched at all this year. His first game did not go very well. So in theory, Devin Williams is injured. And even if he was playing, he is pitching like an absolute bum. So you take him out of that bullpen. The pitching, again, if you're looking at the Yankees pitching compared to the pitching the Toronto Blue Jays have been against, this should be a lot easier of a matchup. But I think this is where, hey, if you can't get to Carlos Carrasco and you only get 3 hits against Carlos Carrasco and the Yankees end up beating the brakes off of you and it's 8-0, I mean, that's going to be where we do have some problems. But at the end of the day, we could throw the offense to the side at this point. One thing we can be happy about, and we saw it actually when the Toronto Blue Jays were throwing their good guys in the one chance, they, again, kind of forced their hand a little bit. You can't have Jimmy Garcia and Jeff Hoffman on the bench for 5 days in a row. But you saw what happens when you throw your good arms in a baseball game. You saw how good this pitching was. Don Francis didn't have the greatest stuff. Still turned out a decent day. So you look at your top 4 in the starting rotation. You look at this bullpen. The pitching on this team hasn't really been the problem this year. I'm pretty confident with those 4 starting guys. Again, the 5th rotation spot we're going to have to talk about. We're obviously going to have to figure something out there until Alek Manoah comes back, or maybe the trade deadline, obviously. But all the pitching wise so far is fine. It's just how optimistic can we be about the Toronto Blue Jays? One thing that we talked about just about this last game that we saw is the approach of the Toronto Blue Jays. It's not necessarily every single player, but when things are going well, and you're swinging at the first pitch and it's not right down the middle, you're kind of swinging at a pitch that's off the plate, or you're swinging at a pitch that's high, and you're just making bad contact. You're just helping the other pitcher out. Things are already not going very well, and your offense is having a very hard time scoring runs. Why are you helping them out early on in a count and swinging at a ball, even if it's a borderline strike? I think you got to be pretty confident and pick a pitch in a certain area and be able to do some damage and drive pitches. We saw Bichette swinging at a couple first pitches today. Alan Rhoda did it a few times. Barger was another guy that did that. Again, younger players, maybe they have a little bit more leeway and they have to kind of figure out, obviously, and come into their own in the major leagues. But again, like when you're struggling so immensely, and it's not just the one game that's happening again, sometimes pitchers are good. But when clearly this has been a repetitive problem with an approach, whether it's, again, just seeing the ball, maybe, I don't know, the Toronto Blue Jays, everyone needs glasses on that team. I don't know what needs to change, but one thing that I did notice is that their approach, especially early on in counts, I think when your offense is struggling that drastically, I think you do have to be a little bit more patient at the plate.
I'm okay, to be honest with you, going after a first pitch. I was that kind of hitter. I looked for a fastball early in the count.
So if you did, it's okay then, yeah. So we need more of Braden traits on the Blue Jays right now.
I'm just saying, I think it's a good plan of attack. You want to look for that fastball. That is a pitcher chasing, and most of the time you can get on pitchers when they're throwing that. But if pitchers know that you're looking fastball first pitch of the at bat, and you're swinging at a slider breaking in on you, you also have to have the wherewithal to understand that, hey, this is a bad pitch and hold back. You can't just swing no matter what. I like the aggressiveness at the plate. I like swinging early in the count. But it can't be swing at anything. It has to be, if the pitch is there, that's a good pitch to hit, take a hack. But if it is a slider breaking in on you, why are you swinging at that ball? And I saw that so many times, or the high fastball, Carter. I like the aggressiveness. I think it's very different from what we've seen with this team over the past couple years, where they tend to wait too long and then they're down 0-2 in the count and they're screwed. But the problem is it can't be a binary decision. It can't be swing or don't swing no matter what. It has to be, if the pitch is good and it's a low fastball and I can get a hold of it, great. If it's a hanging breaking ball, great. But if it's out of the zone or a not hittable pitch or not in a zone where you're comfortable with, it can't be I'm swinging anyway. And that's what was frustrating with these games. And something I noticed, I'm all for swinging early. I'm all for taking good hacks. But it can't be at anything and everything. It's you're in the MLB. These pitchers are good. You're not swinging against guys you're playing in spring training, unfortunately. You have to be able to pick up on what's a good pitch and what's not. So I don't know if that's a trait that's just missing from this team, that they can't pick up a good pitch compared to a bad pitch, and they're just going to swing anyway and hope to Christ that they hit the ball. It's just not a good at bat. It's not a good approach. So in that sense, I 100% agree with you. This is an approach problem because to me, it seems very binary right now. It's like, hey, first pitch, I'm swinging or I'm not swinging. And then you see them drop a breaking ball center of the zone and not a hack taken in the world. So it can't be it has to be a little bit reactionary. It can't be just you sit there and, well, I'm swinging or I'm not swinging. And your mind is made up before you even enter the box. That can't be what this is. And that's 100% over these last 3 games what it's looked like to me.
Yeah, you got to have a pitch selection up there. You can't, like you said, you can't just go up, assuming that's just going to be a strike off first pitch, especially when things aren't going well. Like I said, you got to have a better plan at the plate, whether it's approach, it's just the quality at bat. Like I don't have stats to back this one up, and I feel like the Toronto Blue Jays over these last 3 games are chasing a ton as well. A lot of sliders, especially with Ronald Blanco, a lot of sliders that they were, again, just getting ahead of, swinging on outside of the part of the plate, and they're just rolling over, making it very easy for the infield. So just the quality of that bat, whether that's the approach problem, whether that's just them chasing, whether it's a little bit of just not having a lot of confidence, whether it's just at the plate you think you have to do too much. Clearly, everyone on the Toronto Blue Jays right now is struggling offensively. Again, you can maybe point out George Springer had a couple of okay at-bats, Bichette, but as an entire batting order, they are struggling. So there might be a little bit of a mentality issue here as well, where you're going up to the plate, especially if there is a runner on base. You finally get someone on first or second base. They might be thinking, oh, I got to hit a home run because we're clearly not getting hits. We're not seeing these guys well. We have to do a lot right now, and we've got to maximize our chances to actually score some runs. And in theory, and at the end of the day, when they have that mindset, all it's doing is that they're getting a little bit more aggressive at the plate. They're trying to do too much at the plate, and they're going away from what makes them a good Major League Baseball player. I think that's been another issue with this team, is that when things aren't going well, it's very easy to go away from what has worked for you in the past, especially when it's not working in that little stretch. So I think there's just a bunch of things that the Toronto Blue Jays can do better. And again, can it get a whole lot worse? You do have Daulton Varsho that may or may not be coming back. They are going to make a decision on that before this Yankee series. This Yankee series was the first one he will be eligible for. Did play a game in Buffalo, absolutely hammered a ball into right field against AAA. Varsho has been hitting this entire time. That hasn't been the issue. It has been a shoulder problem. But is Daulton Varsho the saving grace on this team as well? Like, unless he's going to come in and hit 2 home runs a game, like Daulton Varsho, not an average guy, not an on-base guy. Maybe you do get a little bit more of the power there. But the Toronto Blue Jays have 13 home runs in 25 games. Again, unless Varsho is going to go out and hit 35, 40 home runs, it can't hurt at this point, but I don't necessarily think you can say Daulton Varsho is the saving grace for this offense.
No, and I want to get into Varsho a little bit, but just going back to what you said, it does. It seems like a team that panics. It's like, oh, it's not working today. I got to be the hero. I got to be the one that goes out and hits this home run to get us back into the game. And that can't be the mentality. You're absolutely right. So I'll give you props on that one. Because that is exactly what it looked. And I think actually Buck said the same thing on the broadcast today. He said it looks like a team that's panicking. They don't know what to do, and they get down early, and they can't put together hits early in the ball game, and then it becomes a panic at the plate. And that's just not a good thing for a baseball club to have. And maybe that is a problem with getting down early and this team not being able to, start the day off well. But yeah, you're right. I do want to talk a little bit more about Daulton Varsho. I think let's take a quick break. Let's come back. Let's sort of break down, what happens when Daulton Varsho does return. First of all, we're going to get into this a little bit more tomorrow, talking about some roster moves of when he does return, as well as some pitchers, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you guys do tune into tomorrow's episode, since there is an off day, or I guess it would be today's the off day, but we won't have a game to recap on the Friday. So we'll have that for you guys on Friday, sort of an off day episode. We'll tee up the series, everything like that. But let's come back. I just want to talk a little bit about Daulton Varsho and sort of the impact that he can have.
I got one more quote after as well. So we'll come at you guys with all that coming up.
Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing better than catching an MLB game live, the crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of the ballpark food. If you're looking to go last minute, Game Time makes getting tickets even easier than ever. With last minute deals, all in pricing, and the lowest price guaranteed, Game Time takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket price drops as the game gets closer, meaning you can score incredible deals. Like I say, I use Game Time for everything. I've converted so many people to use Game Time because you can get the tickets cheaper. You can see the view from your seat. You can buy tickets late and not have to worry about it. There are tickets available. So I always tell people to go to Game Time. It literally is just the best ticketing app you can go to. I know when I went to the Jets game recently, first thing I went on ticket at Game Time right as the game was going to happen. We got cheap tickets. The price was all right there, so I didn't have to wait till I got to the carts, and there wasn't an extra additional fee. I saw what the ticket price was. I liked it. I bought it. It was easy enough. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code Locked On MLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON MLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Yeah, dude. Again, you brought up the Daulton Varsho stuff. I know you have a quote to get to, so I don't know if you want to start with the quote there. And then
I'll end with the quote. We'll jump into Daulton Varsho. I kind of said my piece already on the Varsho stuff. I think when he comes in, like the lineup will change. I didn't really want to talk a lot about lineup stuff in this episode because it could have been, unless you had Tyler Heineman at 3. Other than that, like you could have had Vladdy at 1, you could have had Alan Roden at 1, you could have had Miles Straw at 1.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have mattered. None of your guys were hitting, so I didn't really want to talk a whole lot about lineup stuff. But from your perspective, where does Varsho kind of set into this lineup? And you think he can be this saving grace and kind of put maybe the electricity in this offense to fire up the boys and actually allow them to start hitting for power?
No. Obviously he's not going to be the saving grace. As much as we all want him to be, if he can inject some power and some life into this team, that's great. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see Daulton Varsho get back in the field. So I don't think that's something to gloss over either. But at the end of the day, no, he's not going to come in and hit you 2 home runs a game. He's not going to, carry this team at the home runs as much as you hope. So you hope eventually that Santander and Vladdy and Varsho and Springer can all start hitting home runs and we can all have a grand old time. But at the end of the day, that's just not looking realistic right now. So again, if you want to use what everybody says all the time is Santander and Vladdy are both slow starters. So it's going to get better. I'm not sure if I believe that right now, but I'm trying my best to keep the hope that eventually those two will come alive.
There are stats that back that up, but I'm kind of just sick and tired of hearing that right now, especially when things are going this bad for the Blue Jays. Again, if you're going to, again, it's 5 games. It's hard not to overreact right now, especially at the brand of baseball that we've been seeing, but it is still April. They've had a very tough schedule, and I'm going to kind of end it on more of a positive note. I have a quote here from Chris Bassitt, because a lot of the time last year we were hearing that, oh, it's still early. The offense will figure it out. The bullpen will figure it out. When it's John Schneider, when it's Mark Shapiro, Ross Atkins, I do not like when those guys do that. I don't like hearing that from management. I don't like hearing that from the front office. Again, it seems like they're kind of blowing smoke up our butt a little bit when they do things like that. But when it is a player, I have a lot more respect for it. So I'm just going to read the full quote here from Chris Bassitt going into this game. So he said, "We know April is going to be really, really hard for us. We'll just keep grinding. Don't panic about these little stretches and things like that. We all circled April and we're like, we're going to come out of April on a good foot. We're there. It's just that it'd be better to face some lower level pitchers rather than top guys over and over and over." So again, we kind of talked about this a lot on the podcast. Obviously, April is a tough month. We've gone over the pitching as well. Chris Bassitt, again, maybe sticking his neck out a little bit for the offense. Again, it is early on. You don't want to say, hey, the offense sucks and it's been 25 games. What are you kind of taking from that quote? Do you think this is just more of like a PR thing for the Toronto Blue Jays fans and Toronto Blue Jays nations? Or do you think Chris Bassitt has been talking with the boys? The boys obviously realize that they have played a ton of playoff teams and a ton of good pitchers. It's kind of where you at after this quote.
No, I think it's fair. Again, we've talked about it time and time again. It's understandable that this team has a tough schedule to start the season. And I don't think we can get that confused, and I think that's the right thing to say from Chris Bassitt. I think that is probably how the boys are feeling. But in the same token, eventually you just have to figure it out. Sorry, you're professional baseball players. You're going to face the best of the best. Be prepared for it. I know that's bad to say because obviously there's guys you'd rather face, but it's the hand you're dealt. So figure it out. I'm a little bit getting tired of excuses. I've had 2 years of excuses. So I don't think it's an excuse from Chris Bassitt, but I also think uh, it's a fair assessment. It's just 5 games is tough. It's a tough loss.
One thing I will say is that no team has won the World Series in April. A team can look a whole lot different in April than they could in October. So again, there is a long time ahead of us. But at the end of the day, if you get too far behind the 8 ball in April, May, and then you can't really catch up. We've kind of seen this story before. I'm not going to say that's where this team is trending because again, the pitching is a whole lot better. This team, like I've said this a million times, I'm not going to completely switch up just because they've lost all these games in a row, 5 games in a row. But the bullpen looks a whole lot better. The pitching looks a whole lot better. This team didn't have Anthony Santander last year. I don't think he's going to hit 44 home runs, but I think the lowest amount of home runs he has in his career over like 150 game stretches, it's above 20. So the home runs, I don't know if they're going to come in bunches necessarily, but things can't get worse. And I will die on that hill. Things cannot get worse offensively for the Toronto Blue Jays. Daulton Varsho can only help, but I think there is going to have to be some changes that are made on this offense. I think we'll kind of save that for tomorrow's episode. Obviously, we do have an off day. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about. Who is going to be the 5th starter, how they're going to manage that. Right now, it's looking like they're kind of going to do a bullpen day. How long do we think that can suffice for this team? Again, where does Daulton Varsho kind of fit into all this madness? And what should the lineup be right now? Would it be beneficial to switch up this lineup? Clearly, things are not working. Change sometimes is for the better. So maybe that can be something that does help out the Toronto Blue Jays. But to end this episode off, just want to say thank you guys for watching. The likes, comments, that's subscriptions. All the support recently has been much appreciated. I don't think we could have used an off day more ever at this point. I think the Toronto Blue Jays, I think the fan base, I think just for all of our emotional and mental states, we really need this off day because I don't know if I can watch another game of Toronto Blue Jays baseball if that's the team and that's the brand of baseball they are going to farm out. But again, maybe the New York Yankees going to Yankee Stadium will ignite some fire underneath these guys' butts because I know they do not like losing to the Yankees, and as much as we don't like the Toronto Blue Jays losing to the Yankees.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Again, a lot more to come tomorrow. A lot more stuff I want to talk about, and I know Carter wants to talk about. And you're absolutely right. This is probably so far this season the most important off day in the schedule. So again, everybody decompress. We'll come back. We got some stuff to talk about for the Friday episode, so make sure you guys do tune into that. And then we got another weekend of baseball against the Yanks. So yeah, everybody prepare mentally.